Hey YouTube, it's your boy Atticus. How we doing? It's me and the cat on the back. I don't know if you guys can see that. Hopefully you can see him. So I'm back with you with another cool replay. Today we're doing the High Elves versus the Empire. So let's go ahead and just look into the builds, guys, and I'll talk about some of the thoughts behind my build here. So for my Lord choice, you can see that I've brought in the mighty Tyrion, and I brought him on his mount. And I did bring all his abilities, so we're going to have the Star of Avalorn, I think it is, which will give him a healing proc once he gets below a certain percentage of his life. And it really comes in handy, you know, just when you think you're getting ready to kill him, all of a sudden he pops back alive. So, and yeah, he's an armor-piercing beast now since the last patch. So we're going for pretty standard, you know, kind of theme here. We're going for a really powerful, almost Death Star High Elf build. We're just going to try to just crash against his numbers and then, you know, push our way through. For my secondary lord here, I brought a Lord Master of Hoeth, who, in my opinion, is very overpriced for what you get, but it is kind of cool to have a caster who can actually handle himself in melee like he can. So, he does armor-piercing, anti-infantry. He has really good weapon strength. And for the spells, I just took Spirit Leech, Earthblood, and what's this one called? Harmonic Convergence. So, yeah, pretty standard loadout for that. For my infantry corps, guys, we're going with a whole front line of spearmen. You can see that I've put them up to silver chevrons. We also have the Scions of Mathlon in the middle to get that ward save. So we're going to have that passive ward save in the middle that will, I think it's 18% to any units that are in its radius. Secondary line here, guys, we got some Sword Masters of Hoeth. So yeah, we're going for a really powerful lawnmowers of the High Elves. See, these guys right here, not only do they look really cool, they're just badass when it comes to dealing in combat. So, and then last but not least, guys, we have some Lothran Sea Guards with shields, and yeah, these guys need no introduction. Their role is going to be dealing with anything that doesn't have a shield on my opponent's side. So these handgunners, these archers, these halberds, it's all just juicy targets for the Lothran Sea Guard. And they also put a lot of pressure on my opponent's range contingent. He either has to take the damage or go in there and deal with them, and they are anti-large, as you all know. So that's my army, guys. We're not going for any cav. We're not going for any monsters. We're just going straight muscle infantry against the Empire. So let's go ahead and look at my opponent's build here. You can see that he's brought a pretty mean army. We have, where's his lord at? There he is. Looks like we have Boris Todbringer for the enemy here. Of course, he's going to have regeneration and his abilities to lower melee stats in the combat. And he also has a Celestial Wizard, which I really like in this matchup, just because the High Elf units are so expensive. It's good to have a Celestial Wizard because they do so much damage. And you can see right here, he's taken the DPS spells. He has Comet of Casanova, is that what it is? The Chain Lightning, and then the Thunderbolt spell. He also brought Harmonic Convergence. Actually, he brought all 5 spells, so I guess my opponent wanted to have a couple tactical flexibility with this build. So, you know, it is what it is. For his front line, guys, you can see he has a bunch of archers, and he has a handgunner here. And then he has a secondary line consisting of spearmen of arms. He has some swordsmen, halberds, swordsmen, and spears. So he has a little bit of everything. Very well-versed army. But he has a really powerful cav contingent as well. You can see he brought some Empire Knights. He has some demigryphs of halberds, and over here some Empire Knights as well. And last but not least, guys, he has the Hellstorm Rocket battery, yeah. So this thing you don't really see a lot, but it's going to have a really good line of sight here up on this hill. It's going to do a lot of damage, especially in an infantry-focused build like mine. So let's go ahead and start the match, guys, and we'll see how it goes. So hope you're excited. Ah, man, it's been a really crazy week with school. Alright, so we're going to start the first initial volley right here, guys. And you can see, yeah, it's going to start shooting in on these spears. The Scions of Mathlon. They're going to thematically charge through it. And let's go ahead and just soak up a little cinematic action here. We're going to run with these guys, and we'll see where the next halberd. Alright, so here it comes. Let's see where he shoots at. Boom. God, that's brutal, ain't it? Boom. Oh, man. Alright, so let me get back into some strategy now. So, since I don't have any cav or any monsters or anything to do with a backline harass, guys, I'm just going to charge ahead. And you see I'm going to get an Earthblood off through my Lord Master here. And we're just trying to heal these guys up. Now, my opponent's obviously going to have the advantage from afar, but once we get in close, I have a lot more powerful units. And you see he's going to get a Chain Lightning off. It did a little bit of damage on these spears, but yeah, it's just going to nip the edge of these Sword Masters here, which is pretty good. That wasn't a bad cast at all. You probably want to spend it on the Sword Masters, though, over instead of the spears ultimately, but he did a little bit of damage. Now our line's getting ready to collide here. We're going to see the spears are getting ready to get charged in by the Empire Knights, who were not braced for the charge, so that's really good for my opponent. You can see the Scions of Mathlon are taking a lot of damage, but my opponent is going to get a little friendly fire through that Hellstorm, who are infamous for being, not very accurate. There you can see he's going to get a direct hit by the Hailstorm into these Swordmasters, who are just going to bravely, valiantly charge ahead. You can see that the lines right now are a little bit, in chaos, guys. The opponent has landed his Boris, but he's landed him into some Swordmasters and Tyrion, who's going to pump all his different buffs, Feint and Repo, Stand Your Ground, and he's going to take a lot of damage, but, thankfully for Boris, he does have regeneration. Over here, you can see we have broken these Outriders, which I forgot to mention, guys. They were in Deep Vanguard. But yeah, my opponent's just doing some charging, but yeah, I have a lot of anti-large, so no matter where he goes, he's going to take, some damage. Over here, you see that I have a unit of Swordmasters who I do need to get into combat. With the charges that happen, it kind of threw him off. Over here, you can see the Spear and the Empire Knights are, they're breaking into these guys. And it's the one thing my opponent's doing is he's just, keeping my focus, keeping my army kind of separated, keeping them split apart. It's doing relatively good. You see he's taken out these Spearmen, and now he's opened up this whole flank right here. And these Handgunners are providing a lot of overwatch into these Swordmasters, so that's a really good pick for my opponent. You can see he's going to try to get a Thunderbolt off there, but he is going to miss it. Over here in the main engagement, you can see that Boris is dealing with Tyrion. They're having a little bit of a battle, and yeah, Tyrion's taking a little bit of damage. Or actually, that's the Swordmaster who's taking a little damage. You can see right now, Boris is just kind of outnumbered here. And in the mix of all the troops right here, we have these halberds, and we have these archers and spears going against Swordmasters, and things are just way outside their class. Over here, you can see a couple of the spearmen have gotten into these crossbowmen, which are shutting them down. So yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate for my opponent. Over here, though, you can see, guys, he still has this one unit of crossbowmen, and they're doing a little, they're getting some good damage in. Same with this Hellstorm rocket battery, even though it has become obstructed right now. And you can see, guys, we have broken Boris. Between the combat stats of the Loremaster and Tyrion, it was just not enough, he didn't have any really much support. Over here you can see that the Demigrits of Halberds have came into these archers right here, and since I don't have a cav or anything large, they don't really have a role for these guys, so yeah, he's just using them to try to shut down these archers. But yeah, they're being anti-large. Being that they have anti-large, it's not going to be the best usage for him. And you can see that he's going to get some really good Hellstorm volleys right into those guys and hopefully be able to break them. Over here, you can see the main infantry fight, guys. This pretty much came to me. I have a Loremaster here. I got spears. I got Swordmasters, and we're just crushing through his last little halberds. Over here, though, you can see that these Empire Knights are causing some damage in the back, and you can see Tyrion. He's wrecking this artillery piece all by himself with his little fiery sword, and he's doing a pretty good job. My opponent does have some units coming back from route. He needs to get into combat, and at this point, you can see the balance of power is really strongly in my favor. He just doesn't have an answer for all these Swordmasters who are just doing so much damage to him. You see right now the floodgates have broken, and here comes rushing in my men. So yeah, the Empire lines were not suitable for the High Elf infantry Death Star kind of thing. So yeah, if we look over here, guys, he does have this one unit of handgunners who are getting chased off now by Swordmasters, who are accidentally just destroy these guys if they get into combat. Same with over here, we have crossbowmen, 2 units of crossbowmen, but yeah, guys, they're getting chased by Swordmasters. Now these swordsmen are going to try to stop them and try to do a little bit of defense, but it's going to be too little, too late, and that's going to be a win for the High Elves, guys. So good game to my opponent. Let's go ahead and look at the in-screen breakdown. We'll talk about some of the keys for my success. So yeah, the theme of this build, the idea of this build, guys, is going straight infantry power. You just want muscle. It doesn't take you hardly any micro. You're just charging ahead with the least amount of variables that could go against you as possible. You have plenty of anti-large. You have a lord who can handle himself on 1v1. You have muscle to get through the great swords if your opponent brings it. And yeah, you just have a little bit of everything. This build is really good. Now, it might not be the most fun build to bring, guys, but it's definitely viable. It's definitely something you could bring. And a lot of times, it'll take your opponent off guard, catch him off guard. And you can see right here, he dedicated a pretty sizable force to dealing with, cavalry or monsters, and when I didn't bring it, they're not as good, you know what I mean? Like these Demigryph Knights, that was a lot of money that could have went to something else. Same with these Outriders, just nothing really had a ideal target for them. And, my Swordmasters here, they were in the middle, protected by all these spears, the Lothran Sea Guard in the back, so really, it's just ideal. So just remember that, guys. Be creative with your builds. Sometimes you could try things like that. So, alright, it's Atticus, guys. I'll see you next time. Oh, I also have this thing I'm working on. So I go to school, obviously, right? And it's actually, never mind. I'll just my next video, I'll just post it for you guys. It's something I'm really excited. It's something I wrote. Something I want to share. So okay. See you later. Thanks, guys. Bye.